peace, blessings, respect, and honor beautiful souls. I am Brandi L. Bates, and you are now tuned in to Power Podcasts. Thank you for listening. I am super grateful for your presence and your essence. You can find me on Twitter at Soledad Francis and on Instagram at Brandi is winning, Brandi with an I. You can also find many of these talks archived on YouTube via the I Am Brandi Bates channel, YouTube channel. But it's crucial that you get them while they are fresh squeezed and still have their vitality. Please subscribe to Power Podcasts on iTunes, SoundCloud, and brandibates.podomatic.com. Share, like, and subscribe, because that lets us know that the gifts we come bearing are fruitful and valuable. That being said, today we're getting into the code, what it is not, and how to make it work for you in this reality and at this time, not in the sweet by and by, not in 15 or 20 years. I always say, give me my flowers while I can sniff them and enjoy their fragrance. It's such a shame to me that we often relegate our best and brightest minds to the trash heaps of history. And we don't give them their just due. We don't give people the bag while they're living. And so at the heart of the code is the fact that consciousness is central to everything. Consciousness is central to everything. The code is about the reality of material reality. We exist in a much, much larger ocean than the little pond that we think is the big ocean. The pond is the physical world. What you see, what you hear, taste, touch, smell, feel. But there is so much more to the universe than physical reality. We are more than our physical bodies. The code is about moving beyond the physical, about changing everything. When you align your personality with your soul, you begin to walk in unfathomable potential. Your potential goes beyond your race, gender, ethnicity, and much further and wider than your zip code and the borders of your country. It goes beyond your economic circumstances, okay? So in many ways, the road to the bag is whom you surround yourself with. Yes, your tribe is the road. Your tribe is the road. You receive from the world what you give to the world. That's why you must always keep takers out of your inner circle. Takers are bums, right? If you only take, life will always be taking things from you. Opportunities will always slip between your fingers. Money, relationships, that fine ass Wakanda looking dude, yep, he'll get taken from you too, sis. So keep the takers out of your circle and make sure you don't mimic the behavioral patterns of takers. Gary Zukov, in his book, Dancing Wu-Li Masters, had this to say. He said, reality is what we take to be true. What we take to be true is what we believe. What we believe is based upon our perceptions. What we perceive depends upon what we look for. What we look for depends upon what we think. What we think depends upon what we perceive. What we perceive determines what we believe. What we believe determines what we take to be true. What we take to be true is our reality. See, that's why they have to keep a constant 24/7 playlist in mainstream media of murder and rape and child abuse and death and shootings and police brutality, racism and hatred, and because that is programming your reality. That is programming your perceptions. That is sowing seeds into your thought world, into your mind, into what you're experiencing. And so you believe that to be your world. That's why you have to be careful who programs your reality. What shows up all depends on what you're looking for. See, some of you are not going to get that until next week. I promise you're not. What shows up for you all depends on what you're looking for. And so much of our awareness is the determining factor of what we experience and what we manifest. Every single thing you want, you will have to create it. Everything. Your dream career is not out there waiting, boo. I promise you. Because you must create it first. That's why it doesn't matter how impeccable your resume, you'll always ultimately end up unsatisfied in a position that someone else creates for you. Because it's born of someone else's vision. So you have to create your vision, write your vision, architect your vision, and then you have to sell your vision to the world. But the blueprint must come from you. You must birth the blueprint for your life. You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That's why you're here. See, if you want to have the kind of relationship that your heart yearns for, you have to be the one who creates it. You can't depend on somebody else creating it for you. Because what if they sell you short? What if they put too many demands on you? What if they overexert you? The problem is a lot of us are waiting on someone outside of ourselves to create our vision, to package our vision, to feed us our vision. We're dependent on inept politicians to write the legislation that dictates our movement. And the reason why I say inept is because, again, it's born of someone else's vision. And so no one is going to go to the ends of the earth for you. No one is going to ride for you the way you're going to ride for you. No one wants as much for you as you want for you. So we're dependent on the economy to turn around, interest rates to be just right, or dependent on the right invention that will help get our shit off the ground, right? So do you realize how many independent, self-employed entrepreneurs Uber and Lyft has created? Do you know how many careers hinge on the advent of YouTube, Vimeo, and Facebook? I personally know investors who have used Airbnb to ball out, where they literally use it as a multiple income stream factory each month. But the code requires you to not only benefit and eat from the plates of the Airbnbs, Ubers, PayPals, and eBays of the world, but to adopt the mindset and thought pattern of an Airbnb founder, or an Uber founder, or a Facebook founder. When you think like the mind who developed Netflix, not only will you attract the talent that is key in getting you to the bag, but you'll topple your enemies in competition. The same way Netflix toppled Blockbuster, put them out of business. The same way Amazon right now is toppling many small mom and pop, Toys R Us even, right? And I'm not saying it's good or bad. It just is. Because someone's vision for their life and for their bank account and for their bag was bigger than the previous vision. When you think like a Netflix founder, you essentially cut out the middleman. So, see, most of us are waiting. We're waiting for our parents to create things for us. Then after we leave home, if we leave home, because a lot of us leave home physically, but we bring home with us wherever we go. So including the limiting beliefs, dysfunction, and false narratives that come from home. Essentially, you can take the girl out the projects, but it's not always easy to take the projects out of the girl. But one of the greatest blessings that could ever come out of my mother's death, for example, over 10 years ago, was that it grew me up fast, right? I no longer had anyone to create, package, and feed me a vision anymore. I no longer had anyone to spoil me or wipe my ass when I dropped the ball in life. Our children take our level of vibration and raise it even higher. And so as a parent, all my parents right now listening, as a parent, it is your job to have your children take your level of vibration and evolve it. And if you fail to do that, you've failed your children, essentially. Understand, often pain will help to define you. That's why it's there. You know, and we want to run from pain. We want to prevent pain. We want to avoid pain at all costs, right? Most people, most animals, most everything with feeling, right? But it will help to shape, fashion, and mold you. The caveat is that you must learn to never allow a paper cut to stop you. What do I mean? Paper cut. A lot of the shit I hear people struggling with are paper cuts in the grand scheme of life. Because even if you get knocked down, even if you lose all your money, get sued, your husband or your wife leave you, or you get fired, you can always get back up. You can always start over again. Unless it knocks the breath out of your lungs and stops the beat of your heart, then it's only going to serve you. Rock bottom is an excellent place to start. Anything that places you in the realm of the unfathomable is good. The realm of the unfathomable is where all the visionaries reside. All of them. Einstein, Steve Jobs, Madam C.J. Walker. Eckhart Tolle reminds us, he said, life will give you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. How do you know this is the experience you need? Because this is the experience you are having at the moment. Full stop. When you really embrace that, it will revolutionize your life. Also, many of us fail to architect our vision in its full capacity. So you must be crystal fucking clear about the depths and dimensions of your vision. It's called your vision for a reason. And by doing so, you define what success, abundance, wealth, happiness, and love look and feel like. You determine the texture of your reality. I used to believe that success was, having a big house, a new car every couple of years, the ability to travel the 7 seas, and cash, liquid cash, right? I still do in many ways. I still do. But the difference in practice, for me at least, came when I left corporate America and ventured out on my own. I quickly realized that success, again, for me at least, is being able to do shit on my terms. Okay? To me, you're not successful if you have a huge mansion, but you never get to really enjoy it because you're always stuck at work, working with and for assholes, right? Being able to sit by the pool or being able to go play with my son when I want, now that is success. Freedom of movement. When we get ready to go to the West Indies or wherever, me and babe pack up and are able to go whenever and wherever the hell we want to go. We don't have to ask another grown-ass man or woman for vacation time. I define my own terms, right? I think it was Dr. Wayne Dyer. He said once upon a time, what we own ends up owning us. Meaning the more shit you gather and own, you got all the cars, you have all the houses, you have all the, you got the toy poodle, you got the clothes, you got the red bottoms. But after a while, you're shelling out so much time, effort, energy, and money just to keep it, insure it, to protect it, make sure, you have to, it's like when you get a boat, you have to have a boat slip. You have to have someone who is securing that boat. So much that comes with it. Understand, for every material object, for everything material that you want, there's some other shit that's going to come along with it. And a lot of people don't think about that. That's why stuff is not really necessarily a sign of success. It's really a sign of someone who is feeling some type of void when you get down to the meat of the matter, if you will. But defining your own terms, that's success. So that's like when I meet men and women, I meet men and women all over the country, all over the world, who have more degrees than a thermometer. But they're so loaded down in student loan debt that they can't even breathe. I know people who are literally saddled with so much student loan debt and credit card debt and consumer debt that not only will they never be able to own their own home where they lay their head each night, they'll never be able to own that, but they'll literally be in debt until the day they die. Until the day they take their last breath, they will owe somebody. They will die owing Sally Mae and Navient and Chase Manhattan Bank, right? So that's why I say Sally Mae owns the trap. Sally Mae owns the trap. When you're living in debt, you're living from hand to mouth. And the problem with that is you're working just to keep up. You're never ahead. So you're coming from behind. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But then what happens if you die? You have nothing to leave your children but bills and hard times. So how has that evolved you? How has that evolved us collectively? How has that evolved the family, right? If all you leave your children is a legacy of bills and debt and struggle. I don't believe in struggle for the sake of struggle. Something has to come out of that. Something fruitful and beneficial. The code supersedes emotion. It has to be bigger than you, right? Like, I used to do shit for the benefit of me, or pleasing my family, pleasing my mother, pleasing my brothers. But now I do things for the benefit of my children, the benefit of those who are going to eat because of what I've done, because of the seeds that I've sowed. At least, again, for me, that is the texture and the dimension of success and abundance. Because what good is abundance if you're not helping others, you're not feeding others, you're not answering a need? The code is about creating the means to fuel the ends. Creating the means to fuel the ends. The code is about getting what you want and loving what you have. Let that marinate for a second. Because a lot of us, remember when you wanted what you have now? Remember when you wanted it? Do you remember when there's some shit that was on your vision board a couple of years ago and now you have it? You've achieved it. You've experienced it. You've tasted it. And you're like, next, right? The job that you have right now, a lot of you, the job that you have right now, as bad as it may be some days, you prayed for that job. At some point in history, you wanted that job. Because a lot of times when we get the bag, we realize the bag in and of itself doesn't ensure happiness and satisfaction. The code isn't about caring what people think about you, and for damn sure not caring about what people who don't even know you think about you, more than those who love you think about you. When you seek approval, you're violating the code. What this looks like in real life is when you buy a car. You see people buy cars with money, money you do not have, or to prop yourself up to look like you're balling when you're really not. And so when in reality, the people who you're unconsciously trying to impress never have and never will give a shit about you, whether you're driving a 600 or you're on the bus. Either way, they didn't give a fuck about you then, and they are not going to give a fuck about you now. And so eventually you will come to realize that love heals everything, and love is all there is. You have to love who you're with. You have to love this shit, or you will be miserable. You have to love what you do. I mean, be intimately passionate about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, or else you will be miserable. If you don't love who you work for, then you have to become them, or at least learn how to attract their resources so you can get yourself out of misery. Life is too short for anything less. If you drive up to your job, hear me out. If you drive up to your job each morning and you have to mentally hype yourself up before you walk through those doors, you've violated the code, because you will be miserable. If you're living in misery, I promise it's because you've violated the code in some way and you may not even know it. The code is about facing your biggest fears. That will be the defining moment of your life. The more pain you experience, understand, the faster you will evolve. When you face your ultimate fear, whatever your ultimate fear is, for some of us, our ultimate fear is death. The day we cease to exist on this planet, in this time-space continuum. For some of us, our greatest fear is poverty, losing it all, right? For some of us, our greatest fear is disease, sickness, being incapacitated, being in a position where, you have no control over your freedom of movement or your life or what you do. Somebody wiping your ass, somebody feeding you through a tube, right? But the point is, the more pain you experience, the faster you will evolve. And when you face your ultimate fear, meaning come up square up with your fear, you realize it's really a toothless paper tiger. Because a lot of times our fears are born of our imagination. Well, I think that if this happens, it'll hurt. Or I think that if this happens, that's it. Y'all gonna have to commit me, right? But your experiences and your circumstances all come from you. So when you face your ultimate fear, whatever it is, then you become a savage, because you realize, you know what? I'm controlling this. You are architecting your reality. Ultimately, you are architecting your fears, your doubts, your experiences, and your circumstances. Even if you allow yourself to be programmed by the endless news cycle of, police brutality and rape and corrupt politicians etc., 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 etc. It doesn't matter who's in office, we're going to still see it. It doesn't matter how the economy is going. Certain things you're going to continue to see no matter what. If you allow yourself to be programmed by that, then you are allowing someone else to create your reality. But you're at the will, nobody else. The basic substance of the universe is malleable to human intention and human thoughts. That's why I love dreams. Dreams come to tell us something about our lives that we are missing, that we are creating. A lot of times we dream our fears. We give life to our fears through our dreams. A lot of times the ancestors or someone close in your life will appear. Someone who may have passed away or crossed over, they may come to you in the dream world. Because the dream world cuts out all of the, when you think about all the things that separate us, language barriers, socioeconomic barriers, race, all these constructs, the dream world steps over all that shit, right? So it's like, you may not understand English. I may not understand Aramaic or Arabic. I may not understand Spanish or Italian or Portuguese, right? But I understand some damn symbols. I understand a serpent appearing in my dream. I understand somebody killing me or me falling off of a ledge in the dream world. So dreams come to tell us something about our lives that we are missing. Nothing, and I do mean nothing, happens by coincidence. Nothing in your life shows up by accident. Everyone who crosses our path has a message for us. The code is about doing things in accordance with synchronicity. That's another reason why addictions are so difficult to kick, because most people are head over heels in love with what they are addicted to. A cokehead will do whatever they have to do to feed that cocaine habit. They don't care how you talk to them. They don't care, what they have to go through to get it. An alcoholic loves how alcohol makes them feel. That's why it's such a strong habit, any addiction, because there's oftentimes that person is in love with that substance or that person or whatever it is you're addicted to. If you're addicted to online gambling, right, or addicted to porn or whatever, you're in love with, you're passionate about it. And so understand, every experience that you have and will have on this planet encourages the alignment of your personality with your soul. Every circumstance, every situation, every relationship gives you the opportunity to choose your path. The code is about bringing presence into whatever you do and being aware of two dimensions operating at all times: what's manifested and what is not manifested. The code is about understanding the ego and understanding the ego in its fullness. The code is about finding and living your life purpose, which again, you architect. By shifting awareness from the surface level of life, money, clothes, likes, turning up, etc., to the transcendent dimension. The code comes down to owning a legacy. That means finding a cause you're willing to die for, finding something or some type of something that you're passionate about, something that it can't be harmful to your health, it can't be a toxic something, but something that you're willing to lay your life down. What are you willing to lay your life down for? What are you willing to lay your life down for? When you discover what you are willing to devote your energy to for the rest of your days on this planet, you will uncover what will ultimately bring you lasting peace and sustained tranquility. Yes, you'll have your days, when you get tired or you're fatigued or unmotivated. That's human. It's human to every now and then have, cramps or have a headache, have a migraine. It's human to some days you're like, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. Everyone is entitled to that because that's human. You are not a machine. You are not a robot. You are not a drone. You are not an android. You are human. You are of flesh and blood and bone and emotion. But ultimately, you will have sustained peace. I challenge you to make this year, folks, make this year the greatest year of your life by stepping out on faith in yourself and honoring the code by architecting your reality, by determining and defining the texture and the height and the depths of your reality, of what success looks like to you. What does abundance feel like for you? What does happiness smell like? What does it look like when you arrive? That's the code. So be blessed, epic, legendary, and whole. Stay inspired and stay in love, because where there is love, there is healing and hope. Peace.